Thank you very much for having me today. I'm so honored to be invited here for the exhibition. Okay, let me share my screen now. All right, can you see my image? Is it okay?
Yes, they're okay.
Okay, so I think Matsumoto-san told a little bit about myself and my background already. So, but I'm kind of going to introduce myself a little bit. My name is Tatsuro Kyuchi. My name is spelled like this, in case you're curious. And I'm an illustrator based in Tokyo. By the way, I've never been to Czech, so I hope someday I might be able to visit there. And I've been illustrating for about 30 years. And like Matsumoto-san said, I was a biology student when I went to college in Tokyo. And that's because I loved living things like beetles or insects or like fish or all those creatures. But, you know, when I was studying biology in college, at some point I kind of realized that I'm not, good at working with chemical formulas. Those chemical formulas didn't really, how do I say, ring a bell to me. And I think so. The biology is not really my thing to pursue further. So I decided to study art, which was another of my favorite thing in my life. And then I, decided to go abroad since I already graduated college in Japan. I didn't want to, take another exam or something. So then I went to Art Center College for Design in the United States. That school was in Pasadena, California. Yeah, I was studying there for 3 years. And I came back to Japan pretty much right after my graduation. And, I work pretty much digitally these days, but my first 10 years of my career, I illustrated in oils. So these were the paintings, for illustration assignments. And, these paintings are for book covers, just like this. It's a book titled Boy's Life by Robert McCammon, an American writer. So it's like a part 1 and part 2 book covers. And I also made many editorial illustrations in oils. Those are sports-themed articles. And this was a magazine called Number, and it's somewhat American equivalent of Sports Illustrated kind of magazine. So, I've also done a lot of book covers, editorials, advertising in oil paintings. And, but at the same time, I was playing with computers too. Usually I made color sketches or compositional experiments using computers. But also I was kind of looking for a new style or method that I can, I might want to work fully in computer. And around the year 2000, I developed this style of what I would call digital printmaking. It's like using Photoshop to treat layers like printing plates. I'll show you what I mean later, but so for this piece, it consists of only three layers. And I was, trying to establish some images that looked like, traditional woodcut prints or something like silk screens, maybe. And at that time, like the year 2000, not many illustrators were working digitally yet. And I don't think anyone was doing this kind of thing yet. And here is the a layer. One of the three layers is this brown lines, and the next one is pinkish gray layer and blue background layers. So I use only these three layers to, come up with this image. And, when I overlay brown line layer over the blue background, it gives the image like this. And after that, I added pinkish gray layer on top of, everything. And so it's the piece. But I'm only, even though I use just three layers, since his face and his arm is different color, because this pinkish gray layer is a little bit less opaque, so the blue colors show through. So even if you use only three layers, you get more colors. In that sense, it's kind of really look like traditional woodcut prints or something like that. And from the time on, I thought I found the style, and then I started making digital works for illustration assignments. And like this, just done in the same method. Like these. This has only like a 3 or 4 layers. It's pretty simple. It's a bullet train, somewhat abstract way I depict it. And this is one of the my early editorial illustrations for American magazines. I think the title was, the magazine was, I think, Travel and Leisure or something like that. It's about people looking for the best place to find whales, but it's like they are on the whales, looking for whales. So some conceptual piece. And it's my early children's picture book featuring guided a dog for the blind people. So that's the golden or Labrador retriever, and something like that. The high school students band with some Japanese cherry blossoms. And occasionally I made just black and white pieces like this. Very simple. It's even, simpler because I don't have to deal with colors. It's a cross-country skiing image. This is ski jump at some Olympics. I don't know what Olympics was this, but yeah, I utilized this white space, like, you know, for the white, I don't have to, you know, have any layers. Just use the background white, so it was easy. So those are my early digital works, and they were, you know, pretty simple. From here, I would like to show my some recent works, and they become kind of complex and time-consuming. This is the image of a New Year day, like with a sunrise and Mount Fuji, and a lot of creatures thriving underwater. And it's time-consuming because I tend to use more textures and more elements in one image. So it's somewhat different from my early digital pieces that looked more like traditional woodcut prints. And this one I depicted here is a asphalt cutter. I was kind of fascinated by the idea of cutting rows, and it's a imaginary scene in Japan, but this is supposed to be IKEA, but I changed to idea just for fun. And something like this. I think this is there is influence of the old paintings I used to paint. So I'm kind of like revisiting the way I used to think when I was painting in oils in the past. I use more lighting, so you can see more light and shadows, and more subtle shifting of values. And something like that, you know. And this one is really, it was really difficult for me to, you know, do those trombones with 4 high school students playing trombones in the, and this was only possible because I used Photoshop. You know, I don't think I could paint this image without any help of computers, because composition is kind of really complicated. But, you know, here you can find the interesting textures too, and subtle lighting. So compared with my simpler, older digital work, these recent works shows more mood or atmosphere, or maybe temperature, something like that. That's what I think. And this one is an imaginary restaurant I made up, and but for, you know, each dish I drew pretty detailed depiction here with if this is might be a little too small to distinguish each dish, but like if you blow this up, and then you can find curry or ramen, or like a bowl of rice with tempura, cakes and ice cream, and you know, etc. So that takes really a long time to complete such piece. Another recent piece with for fun. Well, actually, this was actual assignment for a magazine cover, but the theme was I was free to do whatever I wanted to do. So I don't know. I think the editor-in-chief told me to include some animals in there, so I put monkey on a sidecar. Doesn't mean anything. It's just for fun. I myself is a rider. I ride a motorcycle, so kind of this is a model like somewhat similar to a BMW, and I kind of do a research to about the motorcycle sidecar to complete this illustration. And if you get see close here, you can see the Nessie. You know, the I don't know, imaginary dinosaur, whatever, the monster in the lake. I put this just for fun. And something like that. This was the theme of this image was movie. To explain why this represents movie is that, you know, the title sequence of films, like if you can think of like MGM Lion or like a Paramount Mount or something like that, you know, the movie logo in an opening sequence. And in this image, there are three Japanese movie companies, which is the one is Toho, that is represented by this radiating light, and the second one is Shochiku, is a Mount Fuji, and the third one is breaking waves over submerged rocks. That's for Toei. So all the three movie companies' logo image combined together in this one piece, and that represents the movie in this image. Okay, so far it's I just showed you my recent work, and then many people ask me what kind of brushes I use in a Photoshop, and so I will show you here like this. It's pretty simple. You know, these are the brushes I use pretty much. I don't use any like fancy brushes with a lot of parameters. Basically just, you know, round, flat brushes, like sometimes I use ellipse shaped. And for a little bit of texture, if I want textures, I use these kind of chalky pastel type of brushes, but they are all Photoshop default brushes. You know, they come with Photoshop. I didn't really make any, you know, my own brushes, adjusting, you know, those parameters or anything like that. So usually I just, you know, paint with, you know, flat brushes and just fill in the color, flat colors in each areas. I use a pen tablet, not a LCD tablet though. And then for the texture, my pieces have a lot of textures, but I add them at the very last stage. So you know, here it's my image without any textures on it. So it's kind of looks flat and, you know, the boring maybe, just, you know, flat colors. Those lines, I use that kind of chalky brushes here, but other than that, it's just flat colors. I don't even use the pressure sensitive brushes, just, you know, plain round or ellipse brush. And after this, this is one of my textures I have in my computer. And this one, I use acrylic paint. So this is not digitally made. I paint acrylic on a sheet of paper or maybe the sketchbook, and then you close the sketchbook once and then open up, so it'll gives this kind of sticky texture, right? And then scan those textures into my computer so that I can drag them anytime I want over my artwork. And in this case, I apply this texture in these trees, right? So it gives more interesting appearance, right? Compared with these just flat trees. And this is another texture I use. Actually, this is made out of a paper towel. You know, I think this time I just painted a brown color acrylic on paper, and I placed a piece of paper towel over it, and then just peeled off. So the paper towel itself has this brown texture. And this one I used for on this pond or lake behind this man. Here it was just a plain flat blue-green shade, but you know, after I added a texture, it is more I don't know. It turned out to be like more interesting look. And finally, I used this texture over entire image so that it gives somewhat handmade feel to it. Looks less digital. So that's the way I apply my textures over my artwork. So that's about it. And I should not forget to talk about my pieces in this exhibition. I think there was 3 in first one. This is a Great Dan. This was for a book cover. The title of the novel is The Friend, written by Sigrid Nunez. And I think this dog plays an important role in the story. So, you know, so I just did a dog. It's pretty straightforward, and I think it turned out to be pretty bold and strong cover with bright colors. And you know, this dog has this black spots like these, so it makes a really interesting image as a cover, I think. And this one is I made this one for a poster for a TV program by NHK. I think it's called Japan Broadcasting Corporation in English. And the TV program features, well, the actual poster looked like this. But the TV program features beautiful nature throughout Japan. So I did one of the famous waterfalls in Japan. I forgot the name of the waterfall, but this is a real one. And I put, I don't know if you noticed, but there's a great salamander here. This creature implies that the water is very clear and clean, because otherwise, you know, if the water is not clean, this kind of creatures can't live in that water. So this is one of the a beautiful landscape in Japan. That's the poster I made. And the last one, this one is not for any actual assignments. I made this completely my private piece, as my private piece. And this is a depiction of a real cafe in Tokyo. And after I made this piece, I thought it might be interesting to reproduce this image as a risograph, which is this is the riso print. I'm not sure if you are familiar with risographs.
We are.
We are
What?
quite familiar to risograph.
I think the visitors of LUSTR appreciate the good risograph because they are quite common here.
Oh, really? Oh, so, okay, that's pretty easy to talk about. Is the time okay? I've already spent 20 minutes or so. So the risograph, I was thinking what color I should use to reproduce this image. And, I had this color choices. I think it depends on the risograph studios. Some has more colors, some has, less colors. So you can choose whatever they have. And the studio I worked with has this many colors. So I used yellow and aqua and blue and pink. So I had to separate the original, image into 4 plates, right? 4 layers. This is a yellow layer and blue and pink and aqua, right? And then over up together. This is blue and yellow. And on top of that, add pink. It gives you like this. And you still have this, you want a green. So at the final stage, you add aqua, then I get this green. So, but this is just a simulation on Photoshop. An actual printed piece look like this. I think it's very close. It's a little more violet or purple kind of feel, but I thought it turned out pretty good. And I think it's pretty much about it. So my presentation is just that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.